Welcome to Torchbearers by College Esports News. My name is Kenneth, and on this show, we talk with those carrying the flame of college esports at programs across the continent to learn from their expertise in a particular segment of our vast ecosystem. Many of us, as coaches, directors, or program coordinators in the college esports space, can't truly coach for many of the game titles that we offer within our own program. That's why learning more about some of the nebulous yet evergreen concepts that can apply to every game title are so important. In this episode, I sit down with Dr. Ryan Terao, also known as Psych Sensei, a licensed clinical psychologist with experience working with 100 Thieves, the University of California, San Diego, and the University of Southern California. Especially within the context of LAN season, we discuss the importance of mental performance, the impact it can have, and some strategies that players and coaches can adopt to maximize their strengths. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Ryan. Ryan, welcome to Torchbearers. Thanks for joining.
Dude, honestly, thanks so much for allowing me to come and hang out with you guys. A big fan of your work, seen it before, so it's a privilege and an honor to be in front of you to talk with you and just hang out, man. So thank you guys for inviting me to nerd out about esports and gaming, bro.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So first off, like to ask, what is the first or the next work-related task you have to think about the next time you're in that work mindset?
Oh my God, well, you caught me on a really interesting point in my life, and the next game I'm gonna be playing is Dad, and so that's all I'm thinking about right now. I have to go make a freaking IKEA bed and clean a room to get ready for this little guy. So my next game is creating Faker, I guess. But in the realm of gaming, with an individual client comes up. And my next thing that I want to really work with him on is making sure that his win conditions are correct for what he's trying to do in his career. Because sometimes he gets distracted about what's important, what he needs to do, how fast he needs to do things versus, hey, remember, this is what you're playing for. This is all that we want to do for the stream. This is what you're trying to build outside of the game. And remember, this is the process. We don't have to rush because, you know, pros, they want things now.
Yeah, right. Well, first of all, congratulations on the incoming kid. Hope all goes well.
I'm freaking
and
out,
best
but
of luck with
therapist.
all of that. Yeah, right. So even the performance consultants need therapists as well.
Absolutely. Everyone needs therapists. Go see a therapist.
All right.
Shout out.
Next up, want to cover, what's your story? How did you get interested or into video games in the first place? And then how did you find esports off of that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I distinctly remember, this is actually a really funny story, and you feel free to cut this out later. My favorite thing, I remember my first system was like a Game Boy, like to own. But I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember this, but back in the day, you would have to go to a store, like an electronics store, maybe when your parents were shopping, and they used to have like a system. I remember it was like NES, a Nintendo, and it was behind a glass thing, and you had to like hold the controllers that are locked into the box, and you had to look up like this into your neck was sore to play the game. Okay, I remember I was shopping with my granny, and we're at the PX, so like in exchange, she was a veteran, my gung was a veteran, so I was just playing in the electronics store. It's a very funny story, and I'm just gonna embarrass myself because it's for the plot. So I remember this really long line to play like this X-Men game, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for this game because that's what you do. You just wait. And so I was getting closer and closer and closer to play the game, and finally it was my turn to play the game. And boy, let me tell you, I had to pee real bad. But you know what? I said I waited in kid time 3 years to play this game. I'm gonna freaking play it. And so, bro, let me tell you, I played that game, and you know how you like cross your legs and you're trying to, dude, I was there, and then I just remember like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm just gonna keep playing until I pee, and I peed my pants in the middle of the store. I just remember peeing, and it was so strong it like went off the glass because that's how hard I was. It was like 3 feet, and that was my dedication to video games. I'd rather piss my pants in this electronics store, then give up my spot. And you know what? I marked in that territory and no one else played that game after me. I swear to God. But that was my love of video games. I would rather pee my pants in this store than give up playing this game because I don't have that at home.
Yep.
But then after that, I remember like I had an N64 after that. Loved it. Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, good times. Smash Brothers, Kirby, down B only. No items, 200 damage, good times. And then from there, got introduced to PC games from StarCraft 2. My sister didn't want to let me play, and it was also dangerous because have you ever played a online game when your mom is trying to call you to cook rice when she's coming home, and there's no rice cooked? Danger. But you roll those dice because it's fun. But so that's just my history of video games. Always loved them. Was a console kid. Never really had a PC game because dial-up. But then when I got into esports, it was around 2019. I was finishing my postdoc at the University of Southern California at the Korchak Center for Learning and Creativity. And my goal there was to help create self-regulated learners. So learners or students that could help manage their time, manage their emotions, learn how to study, how to talk to their friends, like how to just be regulated and less impulsive and accomplish their goals while they're at USC. Then the story goes, as I was finishing a session up with a student, I asked him, hey, what you going to do after this? Where are you going? He's like, I'm going to this esports meeting. And I said, no, we're going to the esports meeting. So I packed up with him, went down to the meeting. I met Jim Huntley, and Jim's like, you're an adult. What are you doing here? And I said, hello, my name is Ryan. I'm a postdoc student. I help students learn better. So, you know, I love esports. I would love to at least help your teams at least do their schedules or some time management stuff so they can play. And he's like, you like League of Legends? And I said, yeah. And he said, there's your team. Go work with them. I was like, okay. All right. Sounds good. That was my first assignment, and there really just I didn't know anything, and so I just did what I could do. I did, you know, team meetings, conflict resolution. We did schedules. We did communication stuff. We did a lot of things that, you know, I was just borrowing from my clinical practice or what I was learning in postdoc to esports players, and I was like, wow, you know what? If I can help gamers become self-regulated learners in their game, it translates perfectly. And so after that, I was able to go to Arizona because my wife, she was going to do her doctoral studies there. So I got hooked up with Arizona State University, worked with their League of Legends program, the Rainbow Six program, for about 3 years, and then kept rolling. Then worked in the amateur League of Legends scene, then Tier 2. Then I had the opportunity to work with a multidisciplinary team called 1HP, shout out. And we were a group of physical therapists. I was a psychologist. We had a nutritionist, a dietitian, because anyone could be a nutritionist, a dietitian, and physiotherapists. So we were one-stop shop for pro teams. So I was able to work with 100 Thieves. I was able to work with Basilisk, OG, a couple of other different teams at the time. Because it was great during COVID. And then after COVID hit, the money dried up, and now I'm just trying to survive. You know.
Well, surely that's not the end of the story.
Oh, of course not. Then from there, branch out on my own. Because listen, even though there may not be any money for, you know, mental health or performance, this is my jam. This has been my passion. I would do it for free. To me, the payment means that you're taking this seriously. I would literally do this for free if I could, but I gotta eat and I gotta make sure people come to my sessions. So after that, I moved back into college. So I work with still the University of Southern California. I work with UCSD. I worked with a college up in Canada called Humber Polytechnic. And then, of course, doing any private sessions if pros or amateurs reach out to me to work with them. I'm really getting into Fortnite. So I have a couple of clients there. Vico, I drop Veno for some players that I work with. I hate name dropping. It's stupid, but everyone loves it. But yeah, so just, you know, enjoying esports, especially trying to keep my feet wet and trying to help people who want to work with me or learn how to get better. I'm always here.
That's awesome. So better on the block at least a little bit. And I imagine that when I ask you this question, you'll probably think of like 100 different instances. But give me just one example of a success story where mental performance played a significant role in that individual or team success?
Wow. That's a good question. I think when I think of that question, I think of one or a couple different teams specifically. I think of the first time I went to overseas to OG. That one comes up because, listen, when I went up to work with them, I'll be real with you, man. I knew this much about Counter-Strike. Okay, CS:GO, I knew nothing. I knew Valorant because it came out right when pandemic hit. I started. It came out when I started, so like I was into it, knew a little bit, but I had no idea like how different it was. All I knew was attack shooter, kind of like Valorant. And what was cool with working with OG was there were an international team, so they came from all different countries. They spoke all different languages, but they spoke in English to like compete and like talk and stuff, which was really interesting. And at the time when I went there, I didn't understand the gravity of what they were preparing for. They're getting ready for this thing called the major, or like they're trying to qualify for this thing called the major. And I was like, yeah, it's just a tournament. Yeah, the biggest tournament ever. That's like big money and like it's huge, right? The mecca of tournaments for Counter-Strike is the major. Side note, was really cool about this like stint with OG was at the end they called me. They're like, you ever watched Ted Lasso? I'm like, never seen it. Like, you're like Ted Lasso, but for like Counter-Strike. And I was like, I'll take it, man. That's cool. Thank you.
Okay.
And then I watched Ted Lasso. I'm like, whoa, that was an awesome compliment. Thank you so much. But the reason why OG comes up is because when I met them, their issue was they weren't really talking. And so they had some rookies, and so they don't really like they're kind of ready, but they weren't really ready for what was going to happen. And so what was really cool was, you know, coming in and just being me and just, you know, and it's Europe, it's different. And so me and the team, getting to know each one individually, which was really special was in that instance, I flew overseas, and so I was basically living with them. So I ate with them, met with them, watched them, learned Counter-Strike. And what was really cool was helping them speak to each other about what they needed. And then breaking the mindset is of if I ask for something, I can't do it. I'm less than. I'm not strong. How to assign them different roles of like, okay, you guys are my you guys are the core, okay, and the core does this, and I need you to calm like this as a core, because these two other players are gonna go off the rails, but when they go off the rails, I need you three to do this. And say, okay, yeah, sounds good. So giving them different mindsets, giving them different tasks, giving them different ways to interact with each other that was different, I think really helped them be more open, more free, and to get things that they needed without feeling ashamed or that they were less manly, that they couldn't do their job on their own. But really, that's, to me, how relationships work. If you can ask for something and they get it back, or if you tell somebody and they do it, or if you remind someone when they're not doing it and you get it instead, that's building relationships versus they should know, right? No. Well, how many times do you learn things when someone tells you the first time? Once? No. Okay, so why would this be any different? Especially with guys, right? Especially with guys. So
Yeah.
I think if I can teach men how to do that, men how to talk, men how to like actually ask for things and how to think about things differently, that was really cool.
Yeah. Very interesting to hear that whole story. I guess the next question I kind of have, and I think that's an important distinction that we probably don't spend a lot of time thinking about or talking about, is there is a difference between mental performance and mental health. Where is that line,
Woo!
and how do the two play into each other?
That's a fantastic question. All right. I think before we continue, it must be said, you cannot have mental performance if you do not have mental health. You can have the other way. You can have mental performance with mental health, but without mental health, you cannot have mental performance. If you want to think of like a pyramid, mental health is at the bottom. That's the base. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into mental health, all right? Of course, if you want to think about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right, on that bottom of that pyramid, food, water, shelter, right? Are your basic needs met? Are you sleeping? Are you eating? Are you exercising? Because if you don't do any of those things, there's no way you can get to the top of the pyramid. And then thinking about that, gamers, are you doing the bottom things? Are you sleeping? Are you eating? Are you moving? Are you stretching? If the answer is no, bro, honestly, try that first before we get into any crazy mental things, because I cannot help you mentally if you're not thinking because your brain is off because you're sleeping. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I mean, there's so many studies that show like sleepy driving, fatigue driving is worse than drunk driving. Okay, if that's true, how fatigued and sleepy are you guys drunk driving in your games? All the time, right? So that's all about mental health, right? Okay, that stuff, how you think about yourself, how are you with your friends? You know, are you worried about things? Are you sad about things? Are you angry about things? Are you fighting with your friends? Like, all those things, unlucky, they're going to come into your game. Sure, maybe you can put them outside, because, you know, another things that esports directors and coaches love to say is, hey, all that stuff is outside the door, but when you come in here, it's all esports, right? Listen, I'd love to say that's true, but it's not. It's not.
Never.
You can try, but maybe we got to throw another curveball in there, okay? Maybe it's the difference between mental health, mental performance, and mental first aid. Because all the things that you see before the game, your routines, the breathing, the stretching, the team meeting, the cheer, right? I'm really tilted, but what can I do to make sure that I'm not tilted? I'm anxious and I'm worried about these things. How do I focus on what to do? Those things go under the category of mental first aid. Because true mental performance is not what you do at that day. It's the systems you set up beforehand to make sure you can achieve it. But when it comes down to the day, we're talking about mental first aid, because you're just trying to get by. You're just trying to make sure that you have enough duct tape, band-aids, glue to make this thing fly. So mental health is general. Mental performance are the systems you set up out of game, or even during scrims or whatever, to make sure that you are focused. You can shift and have the mindsets to induce performance. You've done the routines to make sure that you're physically can perform or mentally healthy to perform. But then when you get to the game, it's mental first aid. So the difference between that would be like strategy, mental performance, tactics, mental first aid.
I think that's an important distinction too, because so often when we're sitting down and we're thinking of our weekly schedule, we get 1, 2 full team practices by the time we have to go play our next match. We don't really have the time to change a lot of things, right? We don't have the time to fully implement those kinds of mental performance systems into our season while we are mid-season. It's like almost unheard of. And so most of the time, you're right, we probably spend more of our time just trying to do that first aid duct tape problem, slap some Flex Seal on it for a moment and hope it holds together, because that's what we need to do to get through this, because we don't have the time to set up those kinds of continued repeated patterns to keep on going for and have that better base so that we are more stable.
I think another challenge that I think esports has too is that by the time they get to you, whether in college, okay,
yeah.
So on the other hand though, if a traditional sport athlete came to you in college, they would have 18, let's be generous, 15 years. Maybe you started when you're 5, right? 15 years, maybe more. Maybe my math is bad.
Probably
at least 10
less.
years though. At
10,
least 10 years
yeah.
of grooming, for lack of better terms, of like traditional sport athletes you start in Little League. Okay, then in Little League you're taught, or like even before that T-ball, okay, you get taught how to get your bag ready, how to talk with your teammates, how to do little chants, how to stretch, how to like hit the ball, how to do cheers and come back and go home and all this kind of stuff, right? And then you do that, and then you go into, Little League, and then the majors or pony or whatever, and then high school, and then college. So you've had all these years to learn, either, through osmosis, just doing it and absorb it, or someone literally teaches you, okay, we're doing breathing, this is the reason we're doing breathing, this is why we're doing stretching, okay, you can't call Jeffrey this, like we do these things as they're growing up. But in esports, bro, you took this kid who learned this on his own, probably, or in the amazing atmosphere of solo queue, and then you throw them on a college team because they learned this thing by themselves, and now you're going to say, okay, do all these things because this is going to help your mental performance. And they look at you like, bro, I got here by not doing any of those things. Why do I need you? Yep. What? Or like the other tilter is like, okay, I see Faker does that, but hey, that's just Faker, not me. Why? So, I mean, I think I don't want to blame the parents or blame the system on this one, but I think a part of it is like, because esports has not been accepted, or maybe there's not a path, or because it's not, or video games is just looked down upon in general until you make it. And even then, there isn't that investment of how to be an esportsman and what you could do to actually help yourself, because there's not a manual right now. There's not like here's the path, do these things. There's not like the Mamba Academy for mental performance in esports, like maybe there's for basketball, but like not for esports. But I think that is also a systemic thing in general, just because there isn't there yet. So yeah, dude, hats off to you, or you're trying to do it now, but I think that's another barrier that you're facing.
That's a whole thing. A whole other episode probably on systemic changes in terms of we need recreational leagues and travel leagues for youth to lead into middle school and high school before we get to college. But yeah, to your point, I've been talking with a student who is on their first ever competitive team this year with the program. Has no idea what kinds of things might be expected of someone who is trying to compete. And what does it mean to compete? What does that team environment look like? What should I expect walking in on any given day? And while you were talking too, Ryan, I had I was reminded of core memory. I playing, little league recreational baseball. I was never good. But I'm pretty sure for like 2 or 3 years, I would like always have a piece of bubble gum right before a game. And that was just part of my routine. And I would always like take it out before the game or something. But I'm pretty sure I like always wanted that to be part of my thing, because that's just how I got ready and how I was most prepared and ready to roll.
Absolutely. Mine was my dad played Eye of the Tiger, and I struck out. Like those two in conjunction, good a game.
But to that end, right, there's no match day when we're talking about someone coming through the system or beginning to be introduced to what does it mean to be in this serious competitive environment.
Yes.
And that produces its own set of struggles and issues.
Yes.
Where I think, to your point, I think hopefully the general public is starting to come around, but these things are still going to take plenty more time to develop. So in the interim, how do we construct that environment as practitioners where we start saying, no, this is important. I understand you're resistant to it, but here are the reasons why. And it's part of the culture already. So assimilate.
Yes.
If you will. How do we get to that point with players? Because that, as you just mentioned, is a headbutt all of the time.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good question too. You're asking bangers. I think the most important thing, and I think the coolest part of my job is, I think I've started conversations with teams that they may not have ever entertained. From how do we talk to each other? What are the boundaries within this team? What are no-nos? What are pet peeves? What are, things that we don't do? Like, I think it's important to have these intentional conversations about these topics, because if we don't talk about them and no one brings them up, we're not going to talk about them. So, for example, some of the standards that I have, like one meeting I always dedicate to, what are the goals of this team? what are your individual goals for this, and not just to win, but like, okay, how do you want to win? How do you want it to feel? How do you want the team to be through this win? Attitudes, like I said, the things I define, effort, respect, huge things. So defining these types of words. So another meeting that I always love to have is when we're getting into competition season. Okay, yeah, what are your pregame routines? What? Yeah, what do you do before your game that gets you in the mood to compete? Do you like to listen to things? Do you like to warm up? Do you like to eat something? Do you like to move your body? Do you like to stretch? Like, what is the thing that you do typically that helps you get in the mood? I don't know. Perfect. Here's some things that could help, right? And then we can kind of introduce some things, some mindfulness, some breathing. But the reason why we're doing them isn't just for this routine. It's kind of like what you said. There's a purpose and an intention for these types of things. So when I do these things, my body knows that it's getting ready to play. And where do you do them? Because your body is really familiar with places and spaces. So for example, is your desk always the same? Is it messy? Is it like, how do you set up the space? Where do you play? Is it in your room? Is it in the living room? Is it in arena? What is it? Okay, it's because that place that you get ready in to do these things, it also keys your body to know that it's getting ready to do the thing in the space. So we can create that individual conversation with a player. And then from there, I love to extend it to the team because I love team routines. I think it's good for us to come together as a team to get ready. At the same time, if one player needs to breathe and meditate because maybe they get too excited and they need to calm down. Okay, I want you to go do that on your own when you're going to chill to bring you back into homeostasis. But hey, maybe another guy, he's too chill. I need him to do jumping jacks. I need him to run around. I need him to scream to get him to the right spot. And I want him to do that in his own time. But when we come to as a team, we always do those things. We always stretch. We always huddle. We always have a pep talk. We always do something. We would cheer, and then we go back. Because, as an individual, that's great, but then what do you guys want to do together? And then through this conversation, we co-create it. And then more interestingly, because you brought up some good points, more interesting to me is not what's happening. Okay, who's resistant? Why are you resistant? Why are you poo-pooing this process? What's your motivations? That's more interesting to me as a psychologist. Okay, why are you responding to this? Because the reason I'm presenting this is to help you perform. But if there's something that you want to do that's going to help you perform that's different, let's do that. At the same time, the reason why we're doing this is because team. Because if you don't do this outside the game, what are you going to do inside the game? You don't come cheer with me. Why are you going to come smoke for me? That doesn't make any sense. So all these things that we're doing together extend into the game, and that's how I try to explain it to everybody. Like, hey, we're building trust all the time, because if I didn't trust you here in the game, I know you're going to listen to me, and that's why we're doing it.
Right. Hey, can we actually reschedule this match? If that question made your stomach twist on the inside, you may want to pick yourself up some college esports news stickers. We've got some really awesome designs on this sheet, including a comically large match reschedule message shiny sticker. Every purchase of this sticker sheet helps support college esports news and our volunteers, and it allows us to keep creating awesome content like Torchbearers and attend other live events. We are the only dedicated media source for college esports news, and we're here to stay. Support our cause and get some great stickers at collegeesportsnews.org/stickers. Now, back to my conversation with Ryan.
It's almost and one of the things, as you were talking earlier too, how do we build those habits that we're falling back on? Where is the instinct? Because that's the part that kicks in while you're actually playing. That's the part that you have to try to prepare to change. And no matter how conscious you can try to be during a match, you will always fall back on that instinct. And so I think those kinds of methods, pre-match rituals, things like that, are going to key you into getting back to the state of, I'm playing in a match and this is my new routine and new habit.
Yes.
And new instinct for match time, less so the instinct I fall back on while I'm playing solo queue.
Yes. So I think for that, one thing that you can do as a coach is when you do make these changes, right? And you do get a better result. What's going to be really, really important is that you link the change to the change of the match. So wow, you guys seemed really together. The energy was different. I want to keep this here because something changed when you guys came out onto the game differently. So I'm going to link a positive result with the positive result of the match. Then I can create more buy-in from the players. Or maybe I'll say, hey dude, whatever you did the routine, what'd you do? Oh, I ate. Dude, you didn't seem so sluggish. I want you to eat every time. It doesn't have to be, I need to eat Fuji apples every single time because I don't want to be like, what if there's no Fuji apples, right? But, hey, this is part of your routine. 30 minutes before, light snack. That's what I want you to do. You seem more energetic. So, I think it's really important for coaches especially. Use your observational skills. What did you see? What change got facilitated? And then what happened afterwards? You know? So another thing that I like to really talk about with teams in general is cues and behaviors, right? A pre-game routine is just a cue to another behavior. For example, like when I do this cue, the behavior is I'm getting ready to play, right? But if you really think about it from a different perspective, that's all gamers are doing. And that's my hypothesis of why players with ADHD do better at gaming is because their pattern recognition is broken. But what you're really doing in games from a different perspective is you're just looking for different cues that indicate different behaviors, right? For example, League of Legends. All right, the cue is I see top fighting and mid goes there too. Okay, that means there's more people at the top side of the map. So what does that mean? Bottom side, I can do something. The cue is fighting top. The behaviors, I can do something bottom. Valorant, CS. Smoke goes down in this hallway. That's the cue. Okay, the behavior is when the smoke goes, they boost and they shoot me through the smoke every time. Okay, so when I see the smoke, I'm going to be a little more careful for the boost. Or if I see the smoke, it could also mean this, this, or this. That's all you're doing. And so if you can reduce the game to just seeing different cues that indicate different behaviors, you can then manipulate the pattern, you can break the pattern, you can predict the pattern, but that's all you're really doing. So if you're doing that in-game, why wouldn't it work out of game?
It sounds like, obviously, when you talk about it, oh, it's so simple. Just do a little pattern recognition, right?
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's all it really is. It can't be that challenging. But we're also thinking about 20 different kinds of patterns, 5 different external factors that can play into what's going on that given day. Maybe the fans are busted in the arena that day and we're warmer than we usually are. Or today I'm the one that's sitting right underneath the cold air vent. How are you able to boil down all of these seemingly complicated, multi-step issues and processes into just a few small, simple things that these are the priorities. I know if we do these, we will succeed.
Yes. All right. All you need to remember is CAR. Simple. CAR. C-A-R. Okay? You asked for a simple, boiled-down version, and this is the model or acronym I came up with to help you. And if you remember the acronym, it doesn't just work in games. It works everywhere. But if you apply it to games, it totally works. Okay? Because absolutely, you're correct. The reason why games is so hard, the reason why I think, no cap, Fortnite is one of the hardest games is because you have to make so many decisions and so many decisions super quickly. COD, I think, was the same way because COD speed is so fast. It's crazy. Then, like, Overwatch. Yeah. But really, that's what game is. Like, who can keep their frontal lobes online for longer? That's the game. From a cognitive perspective, that's what gaming is. Who can make more decisions more efficiently for longer periods of time? That's it. And then push the buttons. That's it. So, to help you manage everything that may be going on in your game, the first thing you need to do, you got to catch it. You got to be aware. Ooh, I'm thinking this thought. Oh my God, why did I die? That's so stupid. Okay, that is what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about that was a dumb death. Okay, the next step, after you catch it, because if you don't have awareness, you can't catch it, you can't do anything, right? What's the MMA term? You get knocked out by the punches you don't see. Boom. All right, after you catch it, listen, you may not like it. It may not be fun, but we do need to accept it. All right, objectively, this is the lay of the land. Objectively, I'm getting dookied on. I am so far behind. I cannot fight. I just need a farm. My economy is just garbage. I just got pistols, and not the cool one with the silencer, just a straight up pistol, the default one. It sucks. It's bad here, bro. Okay, and you know what? It might be bad here because they're gonna have a bonus after this, and I'm just gonna have pistols again. Ugh. All right, listen. If I do not accept where I am objectively, I'm going to be playing and fighting and running towards a future, a game state that's a fantasy. It's a delusion. It does not exist. Or it may exist, but it'll be way far in the future, or things have to like completely flip on its head to be something that I want. But if I do not accept it, I'm not playing in reality. I'm in a delusion. So again, when I say accept, not accept as in this is forever how it will be and I hate it here. No, I'm going to accept that I hate it right now, where it is right now. Because if I do not accept it, and I will not allow me to do the things I need to do to change my game state for the future. So I accept it. It's bad. And this is what makes it bad. And for most people, when they get tilted, listen to your tilt. You'll find all the problems. Oh my god, this is so stupid. I'm so far behind. This jungler's garbage. Oh my god, this game's so hard. Yes, listen to it. Okay, then be curious. Why? How? How can you get out of this place? Accept. And then R. Okay, we're just going to redirect that energy, redirect that thought to something that's more helpful for us. Okay, yes, I accept and I hear my tilt. My jungler is griefing me. Okay, I'm going to redirect. What can I do to make this game a little bit closer for me? What can I do to get my win condition a little bit closer? What can I do to improve my position just a little bit? That's the redirection. And the goal is, can you do it once? Can you do it twice? Can you do it 3 times? Because if you can do this model car, you'll redirect your thoughts to what's important every single time.
As long as you're constantly aware.
Yes.
And
this is a skill in
feel
itself.
that moment, which sometimes like we can't point out, right? Like that's the skill that the player individually has to have internalized. And that I feel like some of the time, and some of the frustration probably that other coaches experience is, oh, we don't take script seriously. Oh, we don't take practice seriously. But that is the exact moment when this is supposed to work and be trained.
Yes. So I think that's really frustrating for most coaches. I think off the clip, it's really important for coaches to lay down the mindset of what scrims are and be really aware when their players start celebrating or posting, we won scrims this week. That means nothing. Because why? You probably learned nothing. So I have this magical hammer if you want to learn it for me. Okay, all you need to do is take this. Okay, all you need to do, put it like this. Okay, and this is the magic words. Scrims are for learning. Scrims are for learning. Scrims are for... I do this with my team, still laugh.
Yeah.
I love it. Just remember, scrims are for learning, bro. Like, even if you feel tilted or whatever, or you're upset, dude, scrims are for learning. What'd you learn? Okay, what are you learning? Are you learning how to communicate with your teammates? Are you learning strategy? Are you learning mechanics? Are you learning... I don't know. What are you learning? That's the main thing. Scrims are for learning. So I think it's up to coaches or team captains to constantly remind the team what scrims are actually for and how we can get there. Because we need to change the mindset first of what scrims are so the behaviors follow. You know? So, yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important. Just, it's mindful of our coaches to hear it, because you'll hear it. You'll hear it.
Right.
You know? And here's the thing. The car model, it can be individual, but at the same time, you can, as a coach, use it. How? You can either... I encourage coaches, listen, in your scrims, you're not allowed to do this in your games, but I recommend you talk in your scrims. Why? Because if they do not see the cue, they cannot do the behavior. So if you set up something in practice, a cue for them, when this happens, I want you to do this, and they do not see it, do not wait for VOD review. That's way too long. Stop, pause it, or remind them, hey, this is what we're working on, remember? Because they need to learn the cue before they can change the behavior. That's behaviorism. You need them a reward. You need to give them some type of feedback. So talk in your scrims, pause, whatever. You know, just make sure that they can do it. So again, if I see it, I'm going to call it out, right? I'm going to be conscious and aware of it. I'm going to say something. Okay, after that, okay, yeah, now I'm going to acknowledge, this is bad, right, boys? You don't like this. Okay, it feels bad. Acknowledge it. We're far behind. Okay, our next step to get back into the game is gonna be this. Okay, redirect. Okay, I want you to not. I'm hearing tilting. I don't want to hear that. What I want to hear is more plans to the future. Okay, you guys got it? Go. So you can do the cars model to yourself. You can do the cars model as a coach to the entire team, but it's just being more direct and intentional in practicing the skill. Because let's be real, this is gonna be a skill. You may get tired practicing catching, redirecting, or catching, accepting, redirecting. You might get tired, and that's fine. But the goal is to build the endurance where you can do it one more time. One more time. That's it. So if you're learning the skill and you're going to get tired, that's a normal part of the process, not because you're bad, just you're human.
Right.
You have mana. And your mana takes up every thought, every stop thought, every held thought. It all takes mana. It takes bullets, and you're going to run out.
Yeah. The other thing I kind of want to get your opinion on is, sometimes, especially for programs that are developing, emerging,
Yeah.
club programs in some cases just don't have coaches outright.
Yeah.
But in my program's case, right, the way I describe my job is I'm a head coach for 9 teams, and that's a third of my job.
Damn.
I'm not really a coach much, right, with that description at all. But
Don't sell yourself short, son. What are you talking about? Stop with that.
well, I try where I can. I try where I can. But the part that I struggle with sometimes, especially when you're talking about potentially interjecting, whether it be during a match or during a scrim, is I am not there all the time. I cannot recreate a consistent environment week after week because some weeks I have to choose, no, I'm going to a different team's match and I have something else going on in the evening, or my teams have 4 matches and I have to pick one to sit on this week, and it's just not yours. I can't be there every week. I cannot be that consistent voice of reason. Where is the line as someone that's in those shoes to try to help, because you want to be helpful and you think you have knowledge to share?
You do.
But you may not have the full trust of the team, and you're not there consistently to help them implement it week after week after week and call them out on it, especially when the pressure's highest during a high-stakes match.
Yeah, that's really challenging. I mean, I feel like that's like the challenge of most esport programs, especially the collegiate level, where you're wearing so many different hats, and there's only so much time in the day, and there's so many people to talk to and fix and tinker and all this other stuff. So I think with these types of things, I think it's going to be even more important that you have a good relationship with your coaches, where you're able to make sure you talk with them either on a weekly basis or even just touch base with their program, with their team and stuff like that. Then I think like if you do watch or have time to like check in with them, yeah, don't pick like a bunch of things. Pick like one thing. What's the biggest thing you think is really hampering the team? And then from there, the next step I think is like, hey, I was just watching the team. Like, this is my concerns, coach. What are you thinking? And then get your coach's opinion. Like, okay, if this was something like that's actually hurting the team from your perspective, what kind of system do you want to build around it, right? And then your conduit is now the coach, and your perception of this one issue or the biggest theme that you think is hampering the team. And now you're working with the coach because the coach has the ins with the team. And so your job is just to maintain your relationship with them, to provide them with your perspective of the system, their progress, and if there's anyone that you need to talk to on the team because Big Daddy's got to come down, and say what's up to them, So it really just depends also the type of relationship you want to have with the team and the type of relationship or time that you have to invest in them and grow with them. So that's another thing too, because each program is different and each person has different time.
Yeah, Ryan, that's great, but I don't have coaches. I don't have a team manager. I have a team captain.
Yeah,
and
the
remainder of the team.
Yeah, next after that would be, if it's not coach, then it'd be team captain. Someone on the team that has more sway or more time, where the goal for you is just to minimize either, unless you want to do the work, totally different story, right? Unless you want to do the work. But if not, individual with more power, status, when I mean power, not like, but like pull, sway, influence over the team. Right. So my goal would be to build trust with my captains, and then my captains would give me the best boots on ground perspective, and then I can provide them, and we can help coach each other or coach them to deliver and disseminate information. Or this is what I see. Is this what you see too? Yes, no. Okay, what can we do? But no coaches. So if coaches, coaches. No coaches, captains.
It's finally LAN season, which means summer is right around the corner and things are finally warming up. Show off your love for college esports news with a CEN t-shirt or windbreaker. We've got 2 brand new designs available too. 100% cotton, super comfortable, and we think you'll love wearing them. Go to akqire.ca/CEN and use code CEN for 5% off your order. Again, that's acquire.ca/CEN with code CEN for 5% off your college esports news apparel order. Thanks for your consideration and support. Now, back to my conversation with Ryan.
Right. All right. For the last little bit of our conversation.
Oh, a little bit already.
Well,
this is so fun.
This will be an extensive part, so it should be plenty. But we're starting to get into LAN season at this point in the semester. Let's follow along a 19-year-old team member. First time they're going to an event. They're traveling. Haven't done this before. Maybe have some competitive experience or something. But they're here. Shiny new thing. What should that individual have done beforehand to feel the most prepared at that LAN event?
Whoa. Okay, so the scenario is I've got a green 19-year-old who's the first time competing in esports, and they're going to go to a LAN, and they've never traveled for sports or anything before. What can they do to make sure that they feel confident playing at this LAN?
Yeah.
Exciting. I'm super stoked for them. If I was coaching them, I'd be really excited for them to have this.
It's an awesome experience that we get to experience so often. But it's also a unique situation.
Absolutely. I think the first thing I would do if I was manager or if I was, captain for this team or something, the number one thing I would do would be making a packing list for them. I think it's going to be really, really important that somebody, if this is his first time, helps him create an entire list for how many days, what they need to pack, and really itemize it for them. Just to make sure that they got it. Because, listen, man, if we make them do it themselves, they're going to forget stuff. So if I have the opportunity to make this list for them, I will do it. The next thing I might want to do is I might want to talk with them individually, to check in with them if they want to. Hey, how you feeling? What are you thinking about? If I have time to do this, I'll check in with them personally, and then, either cover something, give them a little pep talk, give them some tips and tricks or whatever, or at least be an available resource where I'm open and available to them in case they need support or they get nervous or whatever. Another thing I might do is, hey, since this is our first LAN, or this is a LAN for a really important tournament, what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with the team. I'm going to prep my team. Hey, guys, it's maybe I'll even start 2 weeks out. Hey, it's 2 weeks out. We're going to go to this LAN. All right, everyone's got experience with LANs. And we're going to talk about what it's like, what their LAN has been like, what are some of the things that surprised them, what are some things that they may want to make sure that they wish they knew before they went. Maybe I'll go over all the vibes. Then maybe the next week after that, okay, we're going to go to LAN. There's a time that I expect everyone to be at the bus, or the driving arrangements. These are the hotels. Maybe I'll even do a run of show for them just to normalize the process even before we get there. Then maybe last minute questions. I wouldn't change anything from practice, but the more exposure that we can talk about this LAN, the better. More we can talk about routines for this LAN, things not to forget, just so we can get it on their radar to make them more comfortable. This is what I would do. And I do it not only as an individual, but also rope in the team. So it's exciting for all of us to go.
Okay. Next up, of course, is the actual at the event. And going back to what you said earlier, it's the mental first aid. What are those strategies, either for the player individually that they should already be equipped with, or for the coach or mentor that can help assist it during the actual event itself?
Absolutely. I think what's going to be really important to know beforehand is, as an individual player, what do you need to perform your best? Food, time, routines, blankets, your peripherals, hand warmers. So it's going to be really important for you to understand what helps get you into the mood, or what helps you get into the place where you need to play. So knowing all that off the clip would be super duper helpful. I think your coach making sure that you have the team stuff that you want to do to make sure that everyone kind of gets into the mood. Then I think, then again, this is different for each team, right? Some teams, they want to meet down at the breakfast place together to have breakfast. Some teams will knock on your doors to wake you up. Some teams are like, now my dog thinks someone's at the door. What an idiot. Got it, get some more time. That's Dobby. But I think after that, right, like knowing what helps the team, gets everyone together. But after that, okay, as a team to prep, what team routines do you want to do? Do you want to walk through the day before the arena, or do you want to do something just to get people familiarized? Because we want everything to be not new and novel. We want everyone just to be like, okay, this is routine. This is where we eat. This is where we play. This is where we get ready. So that's not a thing that we need to worry about. But then after that, I wouldn't change anything that you guys have done before with your match preps. We're just doing that in the arena. Now with mental first aid, as a coach or even me as a psychologist, I'm going for vibes, right? I'm looking at if things changed. If people shifted, if quiet people are now loud, if loud people are now quiet, if people that usually are in a group are by themselves, or, just anything weird, then that's me. I need to help after that, get my player there. Because to me, now I'm assessing who and where people are. But if everything is business normal, everyone's chilling, I may not, I just watch because I don't want to mess anything up. This is the magic happening, and I don't want to overcook it. Just, okay, everyone's cool, everyone's chill, need anything? No? Okay, I'm just here for vibes to make sure everyone's ready. That's what my goal, just to watch. But if I do my job right, everyone knows the routines already, and we're just doing them in a different place. So beforehand, it might be really important, even during the season, to establish these routines, to know what helps the team best, and then for you to know yourself and what helps you best too. So eat the street food, you will poop your pants.
Yeah, it included in all the routines is eat like you usually would, and not
eat like you usually do. Do not eat that.
Eat like a giant funnel cake or something. Yeah.
Don't do that. No.
Yeah, probably not. The going off of the question I asked earlier too is, all right, I'm the coach. I'm one guy. I'm traveling with 4 teams. I have to hop back and forth between both a varsity and a JV team for 2 game titles, most likely happening simultaneously. Maybe there's 2 matches going on at once, and so I have 3 teams going on with a match at any one given time. I can't be there. Not only can I not be there to fully observe or fully understand or appreciate the full context of situations, because I'm joining mid-game and I didn't see how the first half went. Mm-hmm. But now, they're like, oh, Kenneth's here. That's different than it was a little bit ago. How disruptive is that? And where should I really try to be involved or really try to make my presence known? Or not at all?
Good question. I think, as any good psychologist would say, depends, right? It just depends. Because that also comes down to the relationship that you have with your teams, the effect that you have on your teams. For example, if you are a very calming force to your program and your students are all anxious, you could be awesome. Oh my God, Big Daddy Kenny's here. Everything's fine. We're good. He's here. Everything's fine, right? But if, for example, you are the hammer, you're the hammer of your program, you all you do is discipline, and when you come, only bad things happen, I think your presence might be a little disturbing, right? So it just really depends on your relationship with the teams that you're bringing. What I would say, if you have the opportunity to, even prep before this LAN, is meet with all the teams and say, hey, as the director, I'm so proud of all of you, and I wish I could spend all the time, but just know that, hey, I'm here to cheer you on. I'm here to support you. So whatever you guys need from me, let me know. So you can designate your own role and be open and honest with everyone that they can talk to you or what you'll be doing. And they can even say something like, hey, or maybe in your head, there's a couple different angles I'm thinking. You could diagnose or think about, hey, what teams are my priority? What teams may need me the most? Or not. Or like, hey, I'm going to try to split my time equally. But that's going to be your intention. You can even share it. Hey, listen, I would love to spend time with all of you, but listen, my plan is to spend time with these teams because they even need it, or it's more convenient for me. I don't, however you want us to talk about it. And the reason I'm telling you to talk with them before is because when it actually happens, it's not something new. They knew that this was going to happen. So I can kind of anticipate where he's going to be, why he's here, and what his purpose is, and how I can interact with him. Okay, I can focus now, right? So as long as all this stuff is talked about ahead of time, it helps the teams normalize and understand what's going to happen, why you're here, and all these kinds of things to make it more chill versus, why is he here?
Yeah, right. All right, event happens. Win or lose, no matter what the placement, we should probably talk about it afterwards. What is that conversation supposed to look like, assuming that it does happen? Because it won't always happen, but it should.
Absolutely. Fun fact. Listen, my suggestion for this thing is you have some time. I wouldn't do this discussion right after, or right after we got home from the LAN. Like maybe I'd save it for a little bit, or maybe if it's a tournament, I'm still at this LAN. Maybe I'd save it for a day. So the tournament happens, we'll talk the next day. But I wouldn't wait too long, so maybe a day after. But I wouldn't do it right after. The main reasons, A, if you won, listen, no one's going to pay attention. And we're just super stoked that we won. And whatever you say is going to be like, we did it. Woo! And that's going to be the vibe. That's and if we lost, everyone's going to be super depressed. No one's going to want to talk. Or we'll be tilted and we'll play the blame game, maybe blame myself game. And so it's not going to be really productive anyway. The fun fact was, dude, I did the research, bro. What do you think the research said? What you could say to a team after a hard loss? Guess. What did the research say?
I don't actually know. I'm kind of drawing a blank at the moment. It's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. Well, what?
It's a tough spot to be in.
It's tough. Dude, I literally Googled. Scholar, mind you, not just Google. Scholar.
Yeah, right.
Research for what to say after team loses big game or
My gut
loss.
What I think I would do is I would walk into the room, a meeting room, sit down with the team and say, what happened? And ask everyone to start sharing and call out on each individual to make sure that they all express what they're doing. But give me the proper answer, please.
First, I like your answer. That's a good answer. But that's not what research said. Research says nothing.
That would have been my other answer.
Yeah, there is nothing. I was literally Google searching. There is nothing you can say to another person after a big loss. They're just going to feel that way. You can't take that pain away. There's nothing you can say or do in that moment to make it fine. Because it's not. And the reasons why it's not is because you cared. And that's important. I would rather be in a room of sad, angry people versus, unlucky, bro. We just freaking lost. That's dude. That person's going to get dogged on. Oh, no, I just don't try to take losses. Why, dude? You don't care. That's why you tilt. The reason why you tilt is because you care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't tilt. Straight up. That's what happens. So research says there's nothing you can say to make the sting go away. What research says is, yes, the sting goes away after A, you have some time, and B, you make sense of it. So like you're saying, what you're saying is you're trying to make sense of it as fast as you can. What went wrong? Where did it all go wrong? I'm trying to think about it, right? Like, that's fine. So I think the most important thing, though, is, listen, give your players space. If they need to talk, you talk to them. If they don't want to talk, you don't talk to them. But the next day at 4 o'clock, we're going to come to the practice room, or we're going to come to this room, and we're either going to watch a VOD the coach, have selected for you to watch. Because if not, it's going to turn into, don't look at this, I did so bad. Or, oh, bro, look at this, I fucking smushed them. As a coach, I'm going to curate some instances that we're going to talk about. And then after that, we're just going to talk about kind of what you said. What happened? What do you guys want to do for next time? What would you learn? And untangle any conflicts that may be occurring from this loss. But there's nothing I can say or do after this game to make it feel worse. And and there's nothing I can say at this game to make it more awesome because we won. I mean, let them be, right?
Right.
So that's how it's. Give some time, then lead it yourself of how you want to lead it. Guide the conversation, because if not, they're going to go somewhere else. But it's going to be important that you guide and lead and point them into the direction of what you want them to take away, what you want them to remember, so we can do that instead of, I suck.
Well, what's really going to happen is there is not ever going to be that conversation. There will be no takeaway, because why would we do that now? The season's over. Why does it matter?
Even better, the season is over. And I think that the cool thing that you have an opportunity as a coach, and if not, I would encourage your captain. It's a very awesome bonding moment for you to have one last meeting as a team to reflect just on what you said, how far we came, what was your favorite part, what did you learn, what do you want to do in the summer to continue, what was your experience here at this college or university as a collegiate athlete if they're graduating, right? And I love the end of season meetings. These are one of my favorite. End of season, beginning of season. Beginning of season, we're talking about hopes and dreams and possibilities and things of how we want to do it. But at the end of the season, no matter how it ended, let's pull out the lessons. Let's reconnect what you did, not just to the season, but to you as a person. Because at the end, what I've really found is, yeah, we meet here and play games for 3 hours a day. But really, at the end of the season, what people get sad about is we had team dinners.
Yep.
I got to hang out with Jason. We did some hard things that we didn't think we were going to do, and we learned some stuff, and we laughed, or this made my college experience so much more fun. I didn't think I was going to like you guys, and now you're my best friends. Like, that's more important oftentimes than we rose. We got to push the trophy up, you know?
Yeah.
So, especially at this level. Yes. Unless, like, don't get me wrong, they're trying to go pro and all this kind of stuff, but at this level, at this state of the game where we are in esports, that's what it's about.
Absolutely. And that's also why LANs are important, right? Is that all of the other water cooler talk moments that don't get to happen in the Discord call, that come out while they're all together interacting with one another. And really, that's what we're all trying to do, is to define their own college experiences, how they best see fit.
Yes. People don't understand that, like, the most therapy or the most coaching doesn't come in Discord. It comes on the lunch table. It comes on a walk. It comes, somewhere else. So absolutely, I think that's what people don't understand, especially when, like, I work. It's like, dude, I'm working all the time. What do you mean? You're eating lunch? Yeah. And I ate lunch, this is what I learned, and then I related this, and now we're talking, and now it's easier to think about games from a different perspective. But you just think I'm talking. But like 7-Eleven, baby, I'm always open, even though I'm not doing business.
All right, Ryan. Well, I think this has been very informative and helpful, I hope, not just for me, but for many others listening. The last question we like to ask every guest is if you could snap your fingers to change one thing about the collegiate esports ecosystem, what would it be?
Which is fine. The one thing I think I would change about collegiate esports or esports in general, I wish people would act more out of curiosity than judgment. And not only just judgment, but judgment of themselves. I think if I could help people, if I could help people do two things: one, be curious, and two, laugh. I think, and I guess the third one is learn. So be curious, laugh, and learn. I think if I could do these three things instead of judgment, because that's one step away from ego, I think gamers would actually enjoy their game more. I think they would embrace the process instead of chasing the outcome. I think there would be a lot less chat bans, and I think people would understand that the point of gaming is to hit the sickest clip ever versus being rank 1. Because this is the game. If you actually go for the sickest clip ever, that's the process. You're trying to do things to get this clip. But here's the thing. Even if you got the clip, it wouldn't matter, because you know what you want after you got that sickest clip? The next sickest clip. And that's what gaming is all about. It's not it's not being number 1, because there'll always be another rank 1. But what was so awesome and important and what you really enjoyed wasn't wasn't achieving rank 1. It was becoming rank 1. And that's what games are. It's becoming. That's what we love. We love watching people become. Yeah, we'll cheer for them when they actually achieve it. But what we love is watching the underdog be the champion, become the champion. We love watching someone be fucking bronzy and then train to become a challenger. We love becoming. And that's what games are. But so many people twist it to games are about winning. Games are about dominating. Games are about... No. Games are about becoming and hitting the sickest clip ever. But you can't hit the sickest clip by having an easy game. No, the sickest clip comes from the fucking doldrums of 40 minutes, dying and fucking flaming your teammates and thinking it's not going to happen. That's when the sickest clip happens, not a 50-minute FF. It comes from conflict. It comes from hardship. It comes from losing. Those are where the sickest clip comes from. And so if I can teach my players that, becoming, how to become, how to judge less, how to laugh while becoming, how to have fun, how to be curious, that's something I would change.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, it was a pleasure getting to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Dude, likewise, man. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for stealing so much of your time and telling ridiculous ADHD-filled stories, but thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It was so much fun. I hope we can talk again. We can hang out again whenever you want to talk stories or chat. You let me know. But again, thank you so much for allowing me to be here and to share my story and allow me to talk about esports, gaming, psychology. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Our pleasure.
You just listened to Torchbearers by College Esports News. Thanks so much again to our guest, Dr. Ryan Terao, for joining us. As always, I was your host, Kenneth Christina. Tom Screech collaborated as a writer on this episode. V. Tran is our editor. Sheridan Shea helped record this episode, and Derek Santiago is creative director of CEN. Be sure to follow CEN on X, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram to stay up to date on all things college esports. And check out our website at collegeesportsnews.org. If you liked this episode, please engage with it on social media. It really goes a long way. And if you want to support us even further, you can check out our sticker sheet at collegeesportsnews.org/stickers or our merch store at acquire.ca/CEN. Thanks again for listening, and keep carrying the flame.